Hello, my name is Jason Sweet, and I'm here today to present my business idea to you. The name of my company is called Road Trip. The mission statement for Road Trip is providing clients exceptional service and affordable options for a long commute. Where will your next road trip take you? So the problem that I've seen is that, have you ever needed a ride home from college on a long holiday weekend and wish you knew someone who lived close to where you were from? It may be that you don't want to take your car back home and you want to leave it at school, and you thought about possibly hitching a ride, but you just don't know anybody who lives close to where you're from. So Road Trip is there to help connect people together. Road Trip will link drivers and clients together through an app or a website for a ride-sharing program. We'll offer lower prices in a plane, along with shorter arrival times than sitting in an airport. Also, some other things that people may have issues with is trying to ride a bus or possibly take a train. Will be much more flexible than those type of options. Opportunity and target market for Road Trip will be for college students that plan to head home for a weekend and looking to catch a ride. We'll try to focus on trips that are longer commutes than standard trips, anywhere from 30 miles up to 300. It could be longer if needed, but those are probably the main areas that we need to focus on to begin with. We'll connect groups going to the same place to be able to carpool, and for individual trips that allow people to save gas and time. People will be able to pool their money together. The client will be able to not have to pay for their trip home, either by plane or by bus. And then the person who's driving the car will actually be helped out with some gas money. So we'll link these two people together. We'll connect groups going to the same place. Anyone looking to be more specific in their travel plans, but a short plane trip will take just as long as waiting in the airport than catching a ride. This is usually like a time frame where a plane trip may take about an hour. You may have to go to the airport an hour in advance. You may have to sit there, get checked in, and this could be anywhere from like a 2 to 3 hour process for a couple hundred miles. A car, maybe about 2 to 4 hour road trip, but you don't have to sit there and wait for a plane. So you're more flexible when you're able to leave. So that's one advantage that Road Trip will offer folks. Also, someone else may be afraid to fly. They just don't like to fly. So Road Trip will be great for those folks who are afraid to fly and want to look for other options. As far as the technology in Road Trip, the first thing we'll have to set up an app. This app will have to be able to link people together. It will also tell about the drivers, have background checks for them. It also show the route information and how much that trip will cost the client. It should show a calendar as well for pre-planned trips, so people can sort of plan, figure out what dates other folks will be traveling, when they'll need to leave, and that sort of thing. So it just sort of helped link the two people together. Also, I think I mentioned before, it'll tell a little bit about the route information, pricing, how long the route will take. So the client can really see whether or not the trip is worth it, whether or not Road Trip is a great idea for them. So you may ask, what type of competition is actually out there? So we have a few different competitions. The main one is other ride-sharing programs. There is a company called Lyft out there. The more well-known company is Uber. But I don't think they specialize in long-distance trips, where Road Trip is actually where we'll focus more on longer-distance trips and focus on those type of clients. Taxi services, planes, trains, and buses. Taxis, not a lot of people are taking taxis these days. Usually the drivers are not real friendly. The taxis are not clean. Whenever you go to pay at the end, they're still looking at you whether or not you offer them a tip and that sort of thing. So our type of service will already have preset fees that you'll need to pay. So once the trip's over, you don't have to worry about how much you'll be paying. Planes are great options. For shorter trips, it can take just about as long to fly than it can drive. So that's why we're looking at anywhere from the 30 mile to 300 mile market. Also, planes can be expensive. They can have delays. A lot of variances are thrown into that can sort of throw somebody for a loop if they're on a tight schedule. So I think we'll have a clear advantage over planes. Trains and buses, for example, those are some things that are not well used in this market. Trains are sort of compared to planes and that sort of thing. They can be expensive. They can take a while to actually travel through a train service. So not a lot of people are doing that. Buses, they're just sort of sketchy these days. Not necessarily clean. You can stop in several different bus locations before you actually get to your trip. And so those are sort of difficult. So I think overall we're quicker, more flexible. We have more flexible routes than taxi, planes, trains, and buses. So I think we will have a leg up against these type of things. When it comes to marketing and sales, we'll start beginning to focus on college campuses initially to help students with travel plans. So we'll reach out to the counseling centers, that's like the freshman advising areas, information offices. A lot of times freshmen are not allowed to bring their cars on campus. So that's probably one of the things that we're going to start focusing on first is maybe to work towards those freshmen so they can get home and see their parents. And we'll try to advertise with the travel agents maybe as we start growing. Travel agents will offer some great options to folks who plan to travel. If they may be taking a cruise and they need travel arrangements while they're at port or something like that, this would be a good option for them. And then also just the cheaper alternative than flight. So we'll advertise at airports, train stations, bus stations. Just as those people are sitting there waiting on their plane, trains, or buses, they'll start thinking, hey, there's got to be a better way. And Road Trip will definitely be it for those people. As far as the management team, I myself will be the CEO of Road Trip. Some of the other main positions that we need, we'll need a chief financial officer that will handle all the accounting for Road Trip. We'll need a chief information officer that will handle all the technology, the day-to-day operations of the app, the website, keep those things up and running. And then we'll also need a marketing and sales director who will help us get the information out about Road Trip. We'll get it out to the students and the travel agents and that sort of thing. So that marketing team will be very important to Road Trip. So as far as the financials, you may be asking, well, how much money is it going to take to start the business up? How much do you plan on making and that sort of thing? So some of those questions I plan to answer now. So first of all, the initial app, doing research, anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000. You may think that's a big investment, but you look at many other things like restaurants where you actually have to have a physical building. I think this is a pretty good opportunity and may look like a lot of money, but at the end of the day, it's really not. So in order for the business to continue to run and take off full speed to do advertising, and if we continue to grow, it could run up anywhere to $1 million. But of course, it depends on how much income we're taking in. So we have salaried employees that will need to make the business run on a day basis. So we'll have to pay those as well. We'll have to do advertising, reaching out to universities, colleges. So we need some money for that. So we're looking to try to get funding from some private investors. Funding goes back to the initial investment to create an app and an advertisement. Also, we need to get drivers on board, do background checks with that. So that's where that money is initially going to go. How we plan on making our money. So I think 20 to 30% of the fares will go back to Road Trip through basically the matchmaking service. We'll match clients who are looking for long distance rides with folks who are willing to drive that long distance for them. We'll also sell advertisements on our app while it's running. So we may have several different advertisements running on the app. We'll have them on our website, and we can generate income through that. Our business will be value driven, so we are looking to offer better service, better value to our clients. Currently, the status of Road Trip is that we're currently just in the design phase of it, thought process. So we're trying to gather information and develop the business. In summary, so with many of the world is changing to smarter, better ways to travel, do things. Why wouldn't you want a smarter, better way to travel? Many other people have already seen the frustrations with other means of transportation. So aren't you ready to try something new? So I went out recently and looked at some different videos. One of the more recent videos that sort of confirms my idea is about a Buffalo Bills football player who decided he needed to go to training camp. He didn't have a ride, so what did he do? He called Uber. That trip alone was about $900 over about 500 miles. And so the light bulb sort of went off. Hey, if there's a market out there for it, why can't we do it? So I hope you enjoyed my presentation of my company Road Trip, and thank you for watching.